Hey guys, it's BearInABackpack, and welcome back to another episode of No Games Here. Today, I'm joined by Tom, and we're going to be talking about a few things that have been going on this week, as well as games we've been playing. So why don't we start with one of the bigger things that's happened in the last week or so here, which is Frontwire announcing that they are not going to continue making their Star Wars themed game. Now, to be clear, they're going to continue working on it, and they're going to be making it into a new game with similar features. But unfortunately, EA and LucasArts have come together to tell them they cannot pursue it as a Star Wars game. So, Tom, from what you've read about this, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, to me, it's completely expected.
Yeah, I have to agree.
I mean, did any of us not see this coming to begin with?
As soon as they're like, hey guys, we're an indie studio and we'd like to make a Battlefront 3. Now, we don't want to take away from the steam of the other group, but we're just going to go ahead and make our own thing. And I'm like, EA is going to eat your face off. And sure enough, they're like, yeah, no, you can't. No.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because they're going to be taking away totally from the Star Wars Battlefront directly, the Star Wars Battlefront game that they currently have going, and their eventual Star Wars Battlefront new 2, whatever the hell they're going to call it.
Yeah, do I think that it is a great idea to have your own indie game and have it truly inspired by what a lot of the fans wanted, which was a Battlefront 3, not what we got, which really isn't. I mean, it is Battlefront, but it's not really in the same spirit as the original Battlefronts were. And I really think that that's a great idea, but I think they will still benefit from making their own game. So, although people are kind of like, oh, EA, what the hell? It's like, it'll be better for them. I really don't care if they just take everything, reskin it, maybe do a few new textures, make the ships a little different, and still put out a Battlefront-style game. I think it'll be great. It's just, I could have told them from the beginning that was never going to be a Star Wars game.
Yeah, because that totally interests me. I mean, I just love the original Battlefront 1 and 2 mechanics. They were fun. The bots were kind of stupid sometimes, but I always felt like it had a good scale in the game. And a fun, just mess around with friends. You didn't really have to play too seriously. And I recently picked up the new Battlefront, and I was, initially on the bandwagon of, oh, this game is not anything like the old ones. It stinks. I'm not happy with it. But recently I've kind of switched over to, I think it's a really fun game. I think I've really enjoyed it more than I thought I would when I got it. And I've been playing online because they added the new skirmish mode where you can play on offline, which is very similar to the old Battlefront style, which I really enjoyed. But they only have 1 or 2 game modes so far, and I hope they add more, which I'm sure they will, since they've already put the effort to make this a game mode in general. It wouldn't take too much to add the AI pathing to different game modes.
Yeah, and that was really kind of the thing that players were upset about, is it was missing so many features of the original Battlefront that people liked, like the Galaxy Conquest mode and stuff like that, where it's like,
I love Galaxy
it was just
Conquest.
There, everyone was expecting it, and it was just not there originally. And I mean, at this point, people have gotten over it; nobody cares anymore. But it's still that's part of why Frontwire wanted to do this. They wanted to bring that back. So, as an ending thing about this, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about it, really, but the only thing I want to leave with on this is that I really do wish them luck with their new game, because I think if they continue with this path, they really do make it a Battlefront-esque game, but just reskin it, it'll probably turn out pretty well, and I will be looking at it. I'll definitely be following it, and when it comes out, I am quite looking forward to playing it.
I am as well. I think it's going to be it'll be really fun because I love that style of game. And really today, with bots in general are becoming less and less common, unless they're just in a multiplayer skinned way, kind of like Call of Duty is, where it's just that. But I don't know. I think a game tailored to that AI battles complex is a really fun idea. And I think it's something that more games should try to do.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of kind of that big multiplayer push that we're kind of in nowadays, where it's just multiplayer only, something that's been coming up and we've discussed a little bit is games that are multiplayer only, and where some do really, really well. Games like Overwatch and Siege to a lesser extent. Yeah, Team Fortress, things like that. And others that just, for some reason, just tank. And for these, we're talking about games like Battleborn and Evolve. Now, Evolve, what started out as everyone knows, you pay for the whole game, and it's a 4-player, or what, 4-player, 5-player? Can't remember.
It's 5-player, 4v1.
5-player? Okay. 4v1, asymmetrical multiplayer game, right? Well, recently, as you may know or may not know, it became a free-to-play game, and since then, I've been hearing it's actually been doing pretty good now
It's been
that
on
it's
tops on
free-to-play.
Steam Played.
Yeah, it's just that I think people were afraid of paying money for the that type of game, especially because it was a full price game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was $60 at
Yeah,
launch.
for what you get from it, which at launch I played it too, and oh, it was not great. It was just so limited. You did the exact same thing every single time, and for a
And
$60
not,
game, that's not worth it at all.
no, and I think you have a great point there that, that people were afraid of. I think that was really what hurt it early on, was that people were afraid of getting a game that had so many limited uh, options. And that's kind of what hurt Battlefront initially as well, is that it's a multiplayer only game, which is fine. You can have a multiplayer only game, but if for those ones, it had a very limited amount of game modes and a very limited amount of ways to play the game that has kind of turned into, well, I guess we're going to chase the monster down. But the other thing that I think that Evolve kind of really suffered from was, I think they had a huge amount of DLC and season pass bull crap, and it was like they launched with $60 worth of DLC.
Jesus Christ, really? I didn't remember
Yeah,
seeing that. Good
and and
God.
and, and some of them were DLC packs of like skins and weapons
Yeah, the
and things,
standards.
the standard stuff. But some of it was like $20 for like 3 hunters. I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah,
That's it was way too much, and people kind of felt like they're being nickeled and dimed to death after already paying $60 for just a multiplayer game, and I think that really hurt them.
I
And not
think.
only that,
Oh, go ahead.
I think that Evolve also, in terms of gameplay, I think it became really repetitive because, I don't know, for me, when I played it, when I heard the idea of Evolve, I thought, oh, this is going to be really fun. We're going to be hunting, looking at tracks and kind of doing like a real hunt, like where you're taking your time, you're trying to figure out the path that this monster is taking and trying to corner it in this large open area. But really what it turned down to is very relatively small maps where you're
Yep.
just sprinting constantly everywhere. And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, that's not hunting. You don't just sprint around like a mad bat out of hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what it really suffered from, like you were saying about that, all the DLC is it's like they were wanting to be a free to play game, but not doing it. Like they had all the infrastructure set up to be a good free to play game, and then just went, we'll make you pay $60 for it. It'll be fine. I don't know.
And then the player base tanked horribly.
Oh
after.
yeah, well yeah, because people played it and went, well, this sucks, and then left. They're like, well, this was a waste of money.
And then they got pissed about it.
Yeah, well, understandably so. If I would have paid
Of
$60
course.
for that, I would have been pissed. Steam refunds, please. Which sucks because that wasn't around when that came out. But that would have been really unfortunate. Because then you would have been up shit creek without a paddle.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of on a similar scale of like that player drop off that Battleborn received in May.
Yeah, that was just such an unfortunate thing. Like I played both, like at the same time the betas were out for Overwatch and Battleborn, and I really enjoyed both. Like they're completely separate games, and I love to reiterate this just because people always like to lump them into the same thing. This has been talked about before. It's been beaten to death with a hammer and then smashed with another hammer, and then a third hammer dropped on that. Like, yeah. But Battleborn is very much kind of like your Dota, League of Legends, but first person is what that really is. Whereas Overwatch is a Team Fortress style game. The unfortunate thing is because people had a hard time making that distinction when they were first coming out, they didn't know which one to choose, and the shinier one at the time, unfortunately, was Overwatch. To be fair, it was shinier. It had a little more polish on it. It was a little more interesting at the time. But since they basically dropped at about the same time, Battleborn got screwed so hard from that. And like having played both of them, they're both solid games. They're really good at what they do. I really enjoy Battleborn's humor. Again, it's the same. It's Gearbox, right? Yeah, it's
yes.
Yeah, so it's made by Gearbox, and you can really feel that Gearbox style humor, the Borderlands, tongue-in-cheek humor that's so prevalent is everywhere. It's really fun to play. Like the trash compactors that think they're gods, or even the characters themselves with their little like bantering back and forth between players while you're playing the game. It was really good. And now Overwatch has its own things that make it really good too. It's just I think it really lost out at the time it was released. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that I mean I have now played since they had the Humble Bundle, and I got over or both Overwatch and Battleborn in that Humble Bundle that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Um, but like I got that game and I really enjoyed playing it, and I got enjoyment playing both of them for different reasons. And I think that you're right that Battleborn did kind of get smothered by the great marketing and the great polish that Overwatch had. I mean, Overwatch had, even though I mean, you didn't really see a lot of commercials on TV or any radio commercials. Like games really never really do that in general. I mean, how many TV commercials do you see of games? Not many. But I really enjoyed Battleborn and Overwatch for different reasons, and I think like what you had mentioned that I think Overwatch had a ton of polish and they had a great marketing strategy, but I mean it didn't have a lot of external media besides just the little bits of things you would see on Kotaku, things you would see on Destructoid, and all those sites. You would see the new videos that Blizzard would release, and they had so much polish. And I mean, Blizzard does great CGI stuff, and so it looked great, felt great. And when you play the game, it feels smooth and really well done. Whereas Battleborn felt like it was a little rougher around the edges from what I have played.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
a,
I was missing some things. It didn't look
you
quite
know,
as nice. Like I know they were doing the kind of cell shady thing that Gearbox is known for, but the way they did it, I don't know. It came off as looking not so great.
yeah, and I think it almost came off as like kind of if you do a direct comparison between Battleborn's graphics versus Overwatch's, it kind of feels like they're just two totally, like one's a really experienced one and the other one's kind of like a newer group. Even though Gearbox has plenty of
Oh
experience and
yeah,
their games do look great.
I think that's definitely a thing that really hurt them because people saw them and again wanted to think they were the same type of game and went, "Oh, well clearly this one it's shitty. It looks terrible." When they didn't think that, "Oh no, that's actually the art design. It's cel shaded. It's going to look like it's cartoony and lots of flat colors and that kind of thing, right?" And they're like, "Bah, but look at how shiny and nice and 3D and slick this one is. This one's clearly better."
Yeah, and they judge it based on the graphics, whether that's fair or not. That's kind of what happens.
Yeah.
And and I think that they also benefited from Overwatch being a kind of game that hadn't really been done very much. Because I mean, we've had MOBAs be a big
Mhm.
thing recently, with
Oh yeah.
Dota 2 and Heroes of the Storm and games like that. And so that was kind of a new phenomena. So Battleborn was trying to fit into that genre. Whereas Overwatch was going more for the Team Fortress 2 game, which really hadn't been done that
Yeah,
much.
not there. I at least to my knowledge, I haven't seen a really good one
That
since.
kind of squad based shooter, but
Yeah,
not like in a large sense, like just a 6v6 or whatever.
yeah, and like I don't know,
I think
it's
I
just
think it
really
hit at the right
unfortunate.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Overwatch hit at the right time, and Battleborn unfortunately hit at the wrong time.
and I,
Uh,
and I think that Battleborn unfortunately suffered a lot from a lot of stuff, and I mean its gameplay was good, but I think people were confused by it, and I think a lot of part of it people didn't know what type of game it was. When they think about the
yeah,
game.
yeah. Um, like I think what was the real nail in the coffin? Well, not the nail in the coffin, but really the like sign that it had failed was when it appeared on Humble Bundle for $15. I was like, oh, that's like, especially when Overwatch is still full price. I'm just like, oh shit, that's unfortunate because it's like
Yeah,
just seeing that's like, oh god, I don't know.
I
I
think
Go ahead.
no, you finish.
Oh, I was just gonna say that from what I saw personally, and I'd love to see the statistics on this and like where it was marketed because we were talking about like how these games are marketed. I saw so much more of Overwatch on YouTube of just the YouTubers I watch and follow. Their coverage of it was huge. Everybody was doing Overwatch. They were doing player introductions or character intro or character exploration. Just playing matches or competitive or loot box or I guess crate opening is what I should say. Crate opening and just all these different things for Overwatch. And I think I saw two videos on Battleborn, and one was Total Biscuit, and the other I forget who else the other one I saw was, but it was like no coverage whatsoever. It's very quick. Like I think Total Biscuit's thing was like 40 minutes as usual style, and
Yeah.
there was that, and then Overwatch. All of it was Overwatch after that.
And I
So
and
people.
That media blackout was crazy. That kind of hurt Battleborn, and the fact that I think a lot of people didn't know what type of game it was, because I mean, like when you think of Battleborn, I mean, you don't really have anything that comes to mind, and when you watch the gameplay, because everyone always wondered, like, how does the game play? What do you do in it? Like I had those questions, and I follow gaming pretty closely.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what does it play like? Does it play like Dota? Does it have a campaign? They're like, well, it has all of them. I'm like, what? Like,
What?
has both?
Like what?
Like, how does that work? Do you have you know what I mean? Like, they're trying to be a jack of all, master of none kind of thing.
Which can work really well with some games. It's just, it takes that much more skill to pull off is all.
Exactly. And you have to make sure your marketing is good. And you have to make sure people know and exposed to what your game is. Because if you don't, then people are just going to be confused and say, I just don't trust it, because they don't know about it.
Yeah, and I wonder if they just didn't get keys out to the right people at the right time, or just didn't think it would be that much of an issue. I don't know. I mean,
didn't market it enough, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, and just from talking to developers myself on a couple different games, which I like to say, oh, I know a thing or two, 28 subscribers. Like, just the couple people I've talked to, like, it's still pretty difficult. Like, a lot of people, their advice is, well, your game didn't sell very well. Did you give keys to popular YouTubers? It's like, well, that's not as easy as you think. Like, getting in touch with people is hard. It really is hard, because
especially
if it was easy, they would
get
they'd get flooded with all kinds of shit all the time. So actually getting in touch with them is super difficult. So maybe it was just that they just didn't get in touch with the right people in time. Maybe they didn't think to market right. I mean, there's a multitude of reasons it could have been. But it's unfortunate, because, like I said, I like both games. They're both solid games. It's just sad to see Battleborn die like that. I mean, I guess it's still kind of going, but
and maybe once they make the move to free to play, like Evolve did,
I think it would be a wonderful plan for them to do that and start selling like skins and stuff like that to try and recoup losses. Yeah. I think that would be a brilliant plan for them right now, because that would be the best way to cut their losses, but still maybe make come back out. Because if you make it free to play, you get to basically get a second launch, which is fantastic. It helped Evolve, because people were like, oh my god, this game, it exists. So if they were to say, okay, we're going to free to play, people would be like, oh, okay. They'd be a lot more willing to check it out, because they're right now, if they have to pay full price for it, they're going to look at it and be like, but I could play Overwatch,
Yeah, and especially with, because if they go free to play, I think that they can get, because, I mean, for a developer like that, I mean, I would imagine, I'm not a developer, so I don't know what it actually is like.
Yeah, neither do I. Like, I have very, very limited knowledge. And I
fully admit that. But I would imagine if I was a developer and I made a game, I spent a bunch of hours making a game that I think is pretty good. I think there's a lot of great merits to it. And like, I'm sure that anyone who feels like, I think my game is great. Everyone thinks their own stuff is great. But to see nobody playing it has to be the most demoralizing feeling.
Oh, God, I can't even imagine. It would be terrible.
Just to be like so overshadowed and your player base so diminished, and you're like, I spent all this time and all this money and this effort, and this team is just kind of deflated from that. And that could be really demoralizing for them, especially when you have a good game. Like if you have a bad game and you knew you shipped a bad game, that's one thing. But you have a game that's pretty good, that has a lot of good qualities. I think going free to play and seeing, even if you don't make, you're not going to make your money back on this game. You're not going to be selling a ton of copies at full price anymore, since they did that Humble Bundle. Yeah. They know that. They know they're not going to sell this game for full price hardly at all anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So at this point, why not just go free to play and say, you know what, we're going to make a loss on this, but I want people to at least enjoy our game, to at least play it, so that I can, so that my time, even though I may not be financially compensated for my work, people can at least acknowledge that my game and my efforts were good.
Yeah, and I think what would really benefit them is doing that, and for those same reasons, but also, look, if you get your game out there and people see it's a good game, although it may have failed, this game may have technically failed, which it's a little harsh, but I mean, kind of truth of the matter. I think people will play it, they'll remember it, and when you try your next game, they'll remember that. They'll be like, oh, hey, that actually was a really good game. It's unfortunate when it came out, and maybe not quite as good as its, some of the competing games at the time, but it's still a solid game, so I'm going to check out this new one. You'd be surprised that those little things do matter.
That exposure could really help them next go around.
It's all about being out there. Putting yourself out there will really help.
And you're going to take risks in any industry. And I
Oh
think
God,
that
yeah.
they took a risk with this game. It's a new IP. They're going into a first person, MOBA style game was kind of, a little risky for them to try to go into that market. And it didn't work out for them. But I mean, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some with risks like that. And hopefully this could, not demoralize them to where or hurt them enough where they can't take that kind of risk again and just have to do Borderlands 3 and have to just keep reiterating like Activision does a lot. But I hope that this kind of shows them some things they can learn from for next time, and that we can get more games that are new and unique from them in the future.
Yeah, I really would rather people try new things and fail than do the same thing over and over again. I'm looking at you, Call of Duty. Fuck you.
And it's easy for us to say that when Call of Duty's making billions of dollars, it feels like, and games that try to do new things like Battleborn get thrown under
squashed
the rug.
in the ground, and yeah,
it's unfortunate that that's how the cycle works.
Speaking of new and interesting things, though, you were telling me about the new NX is a handheld, huh? So
that's at least what the rumor is.
So I haven't really followed much of Nintendo stuff. It's been so long since I've owned a Nintendo console that I don't really keep up with them as much as I do everything else. And when you said that, I was like, oh, really? Like, I've heard that the handheld things, like handheld games, are really popular in Japan. So I've heard that's part of why they were doing that. But, why?
I mean, even the Vita is selling really well in Japan, and it's doing well, even though here it's basically dead. I mean, Japan does a ton of handheld stuff. But
yeah, Tom, you and the 300 people in the U.S. that own one. Sorry,
it is a fun system. There's a lot of good games on it, and I don't care if anyone doesn't believe me.
Oh, I'm sure I've seen it and I've played it. It's good. It's just kind of funny is all.
Yeah, I think that they just marketed it poorly. Oh, weird. Sony marketed things poorly. I
know. But yeah, about the NX, yeah.
But about the NX, so from what the rumors have said, at least the ones that I have seen, have been that this console is going to be, they said it's going to be more comparable to the 360, kind of between the 360 and so kind of like the Wii U in terms of graphical quality and capabilities.
So
not they're going to go, but they're not going to go, they're not going for like the top of the line. They're not going for the high end system that the PS4 Neo or the Xbox One Scorpio, they're not trying to compete with those, but it looks like they're going to try to compete instead for the people who want to play Nintendo games, which I think is a fine thing. But what it's going to be, from what the rumors are saying, is it's going to be a handheld. It's going to use cartridges, and there's going to be detachable controllers. I have no idea how that'll work on a handheld.
But I kind of get it. So maybe like set it on your lap. You set the tablet on your lap.
It's like a mini screen or something.
I could see it. Maybe, and it'll probably be like a tablet where there'll be a little like thing like you can fold up and then you can play on the table. Okay. The more we're talking about this, the more I'm warming up to it. I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see it. Because the thing is, let's be honest, Nintendo's never ever been about cutting edge graphics, and
I mean they tried to be with this with the SNES.
Kind of, but I don't know, they don't need to be. The Nintendo, from what I remember and from what I've seen, they're always about innovation. They're always doing new things, and sometimes it hurts them real bad, but they're always trying something new, and a lot of times it ends up working pretty well. And like, even though we're on Mario, technology. God knows whatever. I was
going to say, in terms of technology, I would agree with you, but in terms of IPs, I would say they're the opposite.
I mean, the thing is, like, they do similar things, but it's always in a new way. Like Mario games, right? So, I mean, there was Super Mario 64, which is the first time they ever tried a 3D platformer.
I mean, Super Mario Bros. Was their first attempt at kind of that 2D, side-scrolling game.
Yeah, and then they went to the 3D thing, and then they're like, okay, well, let's go a little different. And then later they ended up with, Super Mario Sunshine, then Super Mario Galaxy. Like, yeah, the basic idea is pretty much always the same. But it's those little things that all add up within it. You know what I mean? Just the little tweaks to how you have to do it that makes it an interesting game. And I think they've always done a pretty good job at it. Yes, they've had some failures, but I don't know.
I'm hoping that the thing that for me with this console, if it's this handheld thing, and then it has like a docking station that can go to your TV, and so you can have like a bigger version of it, which is what it sounds like.
Dock with your friends. Oh wait.
No. when you put it like that, maybe not so much.
I'm just hoping they never make that commercial. It's like, you can dock with your friends, dock with your parents, dock with the family dog, and like, oh no, don't, no,
Please, God,
God, no.
stop. But
Can I throw my 2 cents in here? Hi guys, I finally reset my router from the brink of death and made a blood sacrifice to the internet gods, so it looks like I can join you.
Oh,
Several hours later.
Alex,
let's see how
actually
long he
joined
stays
it.
here for this time.
Yes, let's see.
Well, I think they're kind of expanding on their whole the handheld tablet that was connected to the Wii.
The Wii U.
Yeah, the Wii U, the gamepad. I think they're like, hey, people actually like this, the handheld, even if their execution of games with it is incredibly poor.
Yeah.
But I think they're like, oh, well, this worked pretty well, so we'll expand on it. Because, I mean, I know a lot of people that they're like, oh, I love the ability to just, have the Wii playing console games, and then I'll just take the tablet and I'll go sit in my room and just play games there.
I actually know quite a few people who would take the Wii U and on road trips, they'd attach it to the power outlet in their trunk and would just be playing games in the passenger seat the whole time.
And that's a great concept.
That's a great idea.
Because you can actually get the console experience then. Because like if you have to do with like a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, or even a PC, if you have like a desktop, you have to be like lug it out and plug all the TV in. You need a TV to plug it into. Or this, you could just be like, all right, I got my little Wii U thing, plug it into the wall, done. Can play any console games that I want, and you can play them on the toilet.
Thanks for that visual, Tom.
Yeah, because I think what I hope for is that, I mean, because at least then they can focus on just one console instead of having to do the 3DS and, whatever the Wii U equivalent would be for a console market. So, because they have to because they spend their time doing Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS, then they do the Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, and then they do, they have to alternate between the console systems. And I think that takes a lot of effort away from them, where they can just focus, every year, be like, hey, let's throw out a Mario game. Let's throw out a Mario Kart. Let's throw out a Super Smash Bros. So you don't have to develop for two different systems, and you can just focus on one system.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think kind of as a side tangent, I think Nintendo shoots themselves in the foot with a lot of things.
Marketing in general.
The United States, there's a pretty decent market for like Monster Hunter games in the United States.
Oh, they're good games. It just
but every single time they release one, the fans in the United States have to like convince them to release it over here. We get about once every third or fourth Monster Hunter game.
It's kind of a niche thing, a little bit. It
is.
There's a certain type of person who likes it.
There's a lot of effort that goes into learning it.
Like, people not having health bars for the monsters is a big thing. Like, a lot of people hate that. They hate that they have to just hit it until it falls over. So, however, there's lots of people that are like, yes, awesome. I agree that is actually very realistic because I've gone hunting before. If you shoot a deer, it's not like, oh, you've done 75 points of damage to the deer. Only 5 points left. Like, you don't know. You hit it till it stops moving.
Well, but I'm not... Even if it is a niche game, there's enough of a market here that it's worth the sales. Why would you wait? Why would you not release a game when you can make a profit on it?
Yeah, and that's kind of the argument that Nintendo kind of shoots themselves in the foot, that like, oh, we don't need to release some of these games over here. And not only that, but they do, localization things on their games. They have, like, their marketing ploys are terrible, like we've talked about before. And not only that, but they kind of target the wrong people sometimes with their games, I think.
Or you have the abysmal thing that is the new Star Fox game.
Everybody told them, hey, this is really good, but your controls are shit. And they're like, yeah, we're going to release them with those same controls. It's like, Nintendo, no. Everyone told you the controls like sucked ass. Why? Why would you do this? But we're different. No, too different. Stop. They were fine before.
And it's kind of it's kind of goes on to there where they keep trying to rehash their old stuff, and it depends on how long they can keep doing that without it getting really old.
It bothered me with Star Fox which I'm pretty sure I just said it where it sounds like Star Fox. I'm gonna try that again. It bothered me with Star Fox that it looked like, I mean, it is just the first game over again, which is also the first game over again. Like, it's Star Fox 64 over again. That's Star Fox over again. They did change it up. Like, I was watching a playthrough of it, and they added a lot of enemies, and the levels are a little different, but more or less the same thing. And look, I'm okay with Mario suddenly being a, like, tropical plumber and then a space plumber. That doesn't bother me because it's a new thing. But when you're quite literally doing the same game over again for the second time, please no. Now,
Yeah,
was Star Fox Adventures the greatest thing ever? Okay, no, okay, it was pretty bad. But still, guys, come on. Keep it interesting.
I would argue,
change it up.
I would argue all Star Fox games aren't interesting.
Okay, you shut your dirty whore mouth. You be quiet, sir. Oh my god. Come on, man. Not even the original, like, or no, I shouldn't say original because technically that was.
I was gonna say, are you sure? You want to go there?
Okay, come on. Star Fox 64. You didn't like Star Fox 64. You're an aerospace engineer. How do you not like that?
Yeah, that's. I think that's the first video game I ever really played.
Not even Rogue Squadron?
I played Star Fox before Rogue Squadron.
See, Rogue Squadron was a better version of Star Fox, I thought. I thought because Rogue Squadron didn't throw you on the
Did you play the A-Wing mission, Tom, where you had to find the stupid
terrible.
Sunken thing in the goddamn? Yeah, no.
Terrible.
It's not better. It's not better.
This is coming from a guy who likes Pod Racer.
Who likes Pod Racer?
Tom likes Pod Racer.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
I didn't say I love Pod Racer. I said I enjoy Pod Racer.
Tom, if you say I like being in the same room as Pod Racer, you're still weird. No, nobody wants that. People feel uncomfortable within proximity of that thing.
Pod Racer is one of the. Alex and I played it the other day. We played it. It was fun. We had a great time. We had a great time wondering what the hell.
It was awful.
Tom's rose-tinted glasses on this shit. Like, no, it's great. We just died 35 times for no reason. We clipped a rock that wasn't even there. It was great.
You can't even see what's going on.
No, you can't. It's just like, well, I'm going to lightly touch the accelerator. Ah! And he just
I'm gonna try and make this left turn here, and I'm in the wall.
And not only that, but like we talked about games that would be terrible in VR. There's one.
Oh Jesus!
Here's the kicker. He is good at that game.
I feel like if you made Pod Racer for VR, you just have to have like your typical like circus showman next to you, like, and let's see how long he goes before puking. Do I have bets? 5 seconds, 8 seconds. Oh, we have a 10-second.
I'm really good at Pod Racer.
Jesus Christ, Tom. If by good you mean you only die 100 times per match, I'll believe it. Because Jesus Christ, that game. Fucking...
I don't die very often.
So.
I ride the whole match because you could turn your Pod Racer vertical, and I can ride half the race doing it that way.
He is uncannily good at that game.
He's the pinball wizard of Pod Racer.
Yep.
The Pod Racer Wizard, a far less popular song by The Who. It's
but much
less well known. It's one of their 8 tracks. But yeah, like I don't know. Nintendo does a pretty good job though, all things considered. I mean, do they constantly pump out fantastic, awesome, greatest hit games? No, but nobody does.
They did for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had their moment. They had their golden days. But, I mean, everybody does. Well, why don't we talk about games we've all been playing? So, now that Alex is here, we can have him join in on this. So, hey. In fact, why don't we start with you? Because you're new to this.
Okay, let's see. Recently, Helldivers.
Pod Racer.
Oh my god, Tom.
Tom, go to your corner.
And play Pod Racer.
You and like one other person on the face of the earth. You were saying
Helldivers, Ark Survival Evolved, Red Orchestra, Payday 2, Space Engineers, Chivalry.
You have a large list.
I do have a large list. Those are probably all within the last week.
Hearts of Iron too.
Oh, RimWorld. Played that recently.
Yeah, several of those games you've been playing with me, like Payday, Chivalry, Red Orchestra.
Rainbow Six.
Rainbow Six, yeah, we've been playing a lot of that. Playing a lot of the new expansion, the Rio, the Brazilian Special Forces.
Destructible Walls.
Oh my god, that map. The favela is, oh, it's terrifying. They're like, we wanted to make a map where all the walls explode, followed by, holy fuck, all the walls explode. Where do you hide? Oh, Jesus. You can't defend anything. It's terrible, but also awesome. It's just like, the game is, okay, that map is clearly made for everyone to roam, defenders included.
Yes,
like, everybody's better be moving the entire time or you're fucked. Because they will blow open a wall and just see everything. Everything. Oh my god. However, okay, so Caveira, I don't understand her. Why would they give the ability to interrogate somebody and find out where everybody else is to the defending team? To the defending... Why the fuck did the defending people need that?
Hey guys. Hey, attackers. Tell me where all your other attackers are.
Like, okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be, like, tactically dumb and be like, oh, it's completely useless. It could be useful. Like, honestly, if for some reason, and again, this is, again, back to why it's not useful, but for some reason, some idiot goes lone wolf and you manage to track his ass down and put your boot in the back of his face and just say, yo, where the fuck you at? And, like, manage to get all of them. That's great, because then your team's like, oh, they're all right here, and you can maybe, like, screw up their assault. But odds are, you're already in the house defending, and they're just all going to assault simultaneously. Yeah, it's so like situationally useful. God damn it! Freaking the other guy, Capitao, is so much more useful. He's got the what's damn it? I can't remember the name of the gun. I feel bad. For shame.
Crossbow?
No, not the crossbow. Well, the crossbow's cool. We'll talk about that. It's like the machine gun.
Oh, the M249?
Yeah, the M249. That thing, which isn't fantastic, but it still does pretty good. And then, God, the crossbow. Holy shit, the crossbow. The asphyxiating crossbow. You fire it in a corner, and it's basically anti-Copcon. Or not anti-Copcon. Sorry, anti-Tuchanka. Holy shit. Because it's just like, 1, 2, 3, dead. They're dead. They're gone. That's it. It's all the time it takes. It's a very small range, so luckily it doesn't kill, like, the entire room. But that one person it hits is screwed. Oh my god. Ah, Jesus. Yeah, so needless to say, we've been having fun playing that. Against bots. We don't play multiplayer. Multiplayer is a scary, scary place.
It's a place where fun goes to die.
Isn't that right, Alex?
Yes. It's where fun goes to die and the tryhards come out of the walls.
'Tis a scary place.
Quite literally in that
game. Yeah, quite literally. They come out of the walls, man. They're coming out of the goddamn walls.
Hey!
Came over me.
If you're lucky, sometimes they just shoot you through the wall and you're like,
that's true.
Fuck this game. You're like, God damn
it. In other news on that update, the angled grip that maybe one person will ever use.
Yeah, it's bad. It just fucks your accuracy so bad.
Like, how often do you sprint around a map in Rainbow Six?
Okay, if you play with the tryhards, quite a bit, actually. Because sometimes they'll just go like, run, shoot, you're dead. Run, shoot, that guy's dead. Oh, they got the hostage. They're gone. You're like, fuck. You're like, well, I am clearly on a completely separate level of playability here, so... all right, well, Tom, what have you been playing this week?
Oh, gosh. Let's see. I haven't played Rainbow Six with you guys. I haven't played the new maps yet, or the new characters, since that's come out.
It's terrifying.
I'm excited to try that one out. So I haven't played that yet, but I've been playing a little bit of Baldur's Gate. Been trying to get into that. It's one of my games that I've never played, and I was trying to get into it, and it's really slow. And I'm like, ugh, I don't know if I could make it through this. I know it probably gets
pacing
better.
Or...
Well, it's a little bit of pacing and it's a little bit of gameplay. It feels like a game that should have been turn-based and it wasn't.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? I feel like if it was the old D&D actual, every person takes their turn, you roll for initiative and you do all of that. I think that would be much more intriguing for a battle system than just click on dude, hit with hammer, dead.
Like, are you talking about Diablo style, or is it like RuneScape where you click on them and you just exchange blows till he falls down and then you click on the next one?
RuneScape style.
Oh.
So there's some things like you can do like casting spells and stuff, but it just feels really archaic. And I'm sure at the time it was really fun and really unique. But right now, maybe it's just because I don't have a lot of skills.
Just hasn't aged well.
Yeah, and I don't know, because I like the story. I think it's interesting story, and it has some. But the characters, at least right now, are kind of bleh. The voice acting is bleh.
Well, I mean, it's an old game.
But hey, old games did have some good voice.
They did have. No, I'm not saying all old games had terrible voice acting. I'm just saying it's become more of a thing now to have like
that's
super high production value. Like,
so maybe I'll get more into it as I continue playing it. But right now, I'm finding it as one of those games, where you just kind of quit because you're not having fun at it, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not having fun. And I'm hoping that I enjoy it some more, but I've been playing that, so I've been trying to struggle with that. So I've been playing that, and then I've been playing a little bit of. I just finished Zero Time Dilemma.
How was it?
It was freaking fantastic.
Did you manage to keep everybody alive?
Fantastic. It is so good. That story, that whole Zero Escape series is.
I'll take your evasion as no. No, you did not.
No, I did not. What?
Keep everybody alive.
Of course I did.
Oh, okay. I asked it, and you're like, and anywho, there was this other thing. I was like, oh, he didn't. Oh, no.
Well, see, the game focuses around alternate realities. So
yeah.
To save from spoiling things, you basically get the true ending, even though there were multiple occasions where I died many times.
Oh.
Many unfortunate deaths did occur, where you're like, why are you killing me? Please don't. Oh, I'm dead. Well, that's done.
And done.
and you always try to reason your way out of it, and it never works.
Oh God.
My favorite was someone asked me, so who killed her then? And you have to type in a name of a person who killed her, and you're like,
I hope I spelled this right.
Yep, that's exactly what I was like, oh no. I'm like, so I typed in a name, and so one of them, I was so frustrated by it because I knew the person who it was, but apparently the game didn't think I was supposed to know or something at that point. And so like
I was just like, fuck
David, and the name's like invalid name. I'm like, no, it was. I know it was because I remember this from you. And then it goes, eh. And then I'm like, come on, guys. And so anyway, so eventually I got so frustrated, and I'm just like, yep, I killed him. I just typed my name. I'm like, yep, I killed him. Yep, it went there. And the guy goes, I didn't expect you to admit to it. And you're just like, and it kind and then it kind of advanced a little farther. You're like, am I what? Was that
Are we going with this?
Is this an acceptable answer?
And then
like that.
And
yep. And then you're like, well, at least it delayed my.
Yeah, good on the game for being like, no, you're good. Oh, cool. I'll just walk out here dead. Like, oh, well. So
but for Alex's sake, because he knows this game has twists out the wazoo. There was one, and I told it to you. You remember the one I told you? Mm-hmm. There's twists in that game where you're just like, and couldn't have predicted that. No way in hell could any human being predict the twists in these games.
The developers could.
Well, because the guy who wrote it
made it.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right. You want to be technical, then fine. But it's really good. I'd recommend playing it for anyone. Right. And then I've been starting an XCOM 2, so that's what I've also been doing.
Prepare for the suffering.
I'm already prepared, except the fact that there are only 4 faces is kind of frustrating.
See, I haven't really seen much on XCOM 2. Like, when it came out, I wasn't in a position to buy it.
Me neither.
Like, I just haven't seen anything on it, and now it's been out so long that I'm like, well, I got other games that are really taking forefront to it, so it's like, I'll get around to it.
The only thing about it that I will say is it does not run very well.
Ooh. What? That means a lot because you just got a new
cinematic
computer.
When you're shooting somebody.
Yeah.
You know? When they do the cinematic thing, it drops to 28 frames as opposed to 60.
Oh!
So it's
Shit.
really drastic, especially when you've been playing. Like the whole base game is 60 solid on my computer. My computer's new.
I can guarantee Tom's computer should more than be able to handle that.
Yeah. For our listeners, like, just so you know, Tom like literally just got a brand goddamn new computer with what was you got the new 1080, right?
1070.
The 1070.
The 1070 graphics card. Yeah. This thing should not be dropping frames, people. Not happening.
And it's not like it's a huge deal, but it is jarring when you have it drop suddenly on you like that.
I mean, if you go from like 60 to 55, you're like, well, like maybe a little.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I can live with that, and especially, but and if it was
like
constant
half,
30,
ugh,
yeah,
less than really.
Yeah, so it's kind of frustrating because even when I drop my graphics settings down to to try to compensate, it still does it.
Ooh, that's nasty.
So it's kind of frustrating. So I mean that part of it's kind of frustrating, but I've only basically done the tutorial, so we'll see.
That's not too bad. Been playing anything else?
I mean, other than those, I think that I'm trying to finish up Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Blood and Wine, the new expansion, and it's great. If anyone hasn't played Witcher 3, Blood and Wine. Basically, it's really fun. I think, I mean, at this point, everyone knows Witcher 3 is great, or at least just heard that it's great before.
I want to play it. I just need to buy it at some point.
And have 80 hours to spend.
Yeah, that's the big thing. It's like, oh, I also need 80 hours to play it.
So I've been playing a lot of that. And my last but not least is Battlefront. I've been playing a ton of Battlefront, and I've been enjoying it immensely. And I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, once I heard that it had the new, like, play against bots mode, I'm like, oh, thank Jesus. This should have been in it the whole time. But
yeah, so I think it's really fun. And I think if anyone hasn't played it, and they're kind of on the fence, if you're a really big Star Wars fan, I think it's a really fun game to play. And it has enough now with that offline mode that I think it gives enough incentive, at least for someone like me, who I just want a multiplayer game where I can just have the scale, because you spawn so quickly in the multiplayer games. Even if you die 6 times in a row, you're like, well, I just get right back into it anyway, so whatever.
Yeah, not quite like Red Orchestra where you die and then you're like, well, see you
sit
in
and
20
twiddle
seconds.
your thumbs for a while.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been playing. What about you, Zach?
So other than like we talked about, like playing Payday 2, Red Orchestra, stuff like that, taking advantage of really bad players at Red Orchestra.
Always great.
There's a video that'll be coming out. I'm not sure the placement relative to this podcast, so who knows? But that'll be coming out, or has already come out, of me and Alex playing on Iwo Jima against this one player that, to be fair, he's not a bad player. It's just I don't know if this particular game he was playing his best, because, oh man, so easy to take out. But I digress. So, in addition to that, I've been playing Human Fall Flat because I saw this game a while ago, and I'm a big fan of those like physics-based games. It looks a lot like Gang Beasts. I'm not sure who it was made by. It might be made by the same people. I'd have to look. But like the whole idea is it's like physics-based puzzles where you play this little like blobby human dude, and like you can grab things with your arms and lift them, and you can like grab things and like move your arms to lift yourself over obstacles and stuff like that. It's really fun. The controls are actually pretty tight on it. And, like, tight enough where you're, like, jumping onto things, grabbing them, and swinging across. Like, if you guys have played Gang Beasts at all ever, you understand how hard that might be with that type of control setup. But it's actually really easy. It actually works pretty damn well. So I've been playing that, and I've also been playing a lot of Headlander. In fact, I just beat it not too long ago. And I really enjoy it. It is fantastic. It's, so it's made by... Crap, I can't remember. I have to look it up, and I'll edit that back in because I should know that. I just got it. Let me look it up. I mean, I know it's by Adult Swim, or at least published by them. All right. Oh, Double Fine. Jesus Christ. Come on, Zach.
Oh, Double Fine. That's pretty.
I know, right? So it's made by Double Fine and published by Adult Swim, so you already know that there's going to be some humor involved. Now, it's not as funny as I had originally thought it was going to be. Like, people in like the game kind of played it up to be like the side-splittingly funny joke of a game. It's funny. It's really funny, but it's not quite that much. But it's like the humor, it's very adult humor, that's for sure. So like, if you're a small child playing games, you might want to avoid this one. Parents, be aware. But like at one point, okay, so the whole idea is you're this like head in an astronaut helmet, right? You're the last human in the universe, and you have to fly around and put your head on robot bodies, right? Well, they keep referring to the act of like using the vacuum to pull off a head as sucking off the head, and I'm like, God damn it. It's like, use your vacuum to suck off his head. I'm like, God damn it. This game, son of a bitch. And then like the doors, like, okay, so there's certain tiny doors that you can only access with these things called electrosucks, which are basically like tiny robotic vacuums. They look a lot like the things from Star Wars, the little like mouse robot things on the floor. So they're those, right? So you can pull off one of their heads and jack into it, right? And then you go through the door and it's like opening C hole. And then like depending on which one, I think there's A through Z. So it's like opening B hole, opening A hole. I'm like, God damn it. It's the whole thing. Wow. It's just that. And like sometimes the game will even make fun of itself where it's like opening P hole. Really? Really? You're going to make me say that? Really? Like the doors will make fun of you if you're not wearing the right shade. Like you'll grab like a red suit because it's a red door and you need a red suit to get through a red door because that's the security clearance. And it'll be like, nah, that's more of a dusty rose. It's like, God damn it. Just let me through the goddamn door. So that, and then my favorite one that I saw so far, because it took me so long to realize it was happening. There's a point in the game, and I hope this isn't spoilers. If it is, you've been warned. There's a part where you're going through this like factory where they're making the robots that people are like putting their minds into. That's how people are living forever. And it's like an amalgamation of like parts that are making up these robots in this particular place. So there's like centaur people that are basically like a normal person, but with another one's like head jammed up the butt. So it makes a centaur out of it. But the best part is the top half, right? Like the torso is uncovered of the bottom half of the horse effectively, right? So where do you put the jacket? Well, it's tied around its waist. Take a wild stab at what you think the arm, like the sleeves, look like on a centaur in that configuration. Kind of looks like a dick. So your centaur dude has a giant floppy yellow dick. And it's like, God damn it. It took me so long to realize it too. I was like, what is that moving? Oh my God. I'm like, God damn it, game. God damn it.
This game.
It's so funny. It's like, it's a lot of hidden stuff, and they really nailed the 70s sci-fi feel. The whole ship is filled with shag carpet. The whole thing. There's just huge areas of shag carpet, and the robots are like swimming in it and like rubbing on it and everything. They're like, I can feel it, man. Yeah. Like, psychedelic, dude. I'm like, oh my God. So I've been really enjoying that. That's been taking up a lot of my time, but it's been really good. And I've also been playing Road to Valhalla. Now, when this comes out, the game will have been released. It releases on August 5th. And I don't know, from what I've got to play of it, I really enjoy it. I don't know, I haven't played too many marble games in a long time. It seems to be like the type of game that's kind of died out a little bit. People aren't really playing them quite as much. But it brings a lot to it because it's a rhythm-based game. So the music is really strong with it. It's got an electronica soundtrack to it. And you have to be in time with the music in order to make it work. Because if you're not actively listening to the music and rolling with it, there's a lot of the traps and obstacles that are just going to kill you. Because they activate with the music. So you have to be timing it. And especially the last level. Oh my God, the last mission is so hard. Because you're constantly being hit on beat with the music, and it's constantly taking out health, and you're having to avoid traps, and if you boost at the wrong time, you die immediately. It's a lot to deal with, but it's super fun. And it's not too expensive either. I think it's like $15 or something like that. It'd be better a little cheaper, but But other than that, I mean, that's really all I've been playing this week. A few things here or there, but not too much. All right, guys. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode because we've been talking for quite a while now, and I think that's a pretty good place to stop. So why don't we go ahead and say our goodbyes? So we'll start with Tom.
Podberry sure is awesome.
Oh, God. Only you, Tom. Only you. Alex, how are What a great send-off. Wonderful. Sounds fantastic. All right. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.